Hey folks, we've been gone for a long time. It's been a long winter, and hopefully it has been as much fun for you as it has for us. We appreciate you watching us. We've got a lot of new stuff in the store. We've got a lot going on, and I worked the Jetta Marina tournament this last weekend, and I've got a report that the lake is alive and well. Alive and well. I mean, they caught a bunch of fish, and I think we're seeing those year classes of fish we've missed for the last 3 or 4 years. There are a lot of 15 to 17 inch fish, and the weights are coming back up also. Last year, where it would take 10 or 12 pounds to get a check, it's going to take 15 to 16 pounds to get a check this year. But what we're going to talk about is the kind of situation we're in right now. We've got a lot of new stuff in the store. We've got a lot of tackle that we haven't carried before. We're starting to get some stuff in from this pandemic crush where manufacturers aren't shipping much, and we've got a lot of stuff in the store and a lot more stuff coming. So let's get started. First of all, this has been a crankbait year. I mean, crankbait has been king up till now. Of course, with the water up in the 358 range, probably not going to fall much below 357. We're going to have a great spawn, another great spawn, and the fish are kind of moving to that direction now. Of course, as we all know, they don't all move at the same time, so there'll be some tweeners. I call tweeners those fish that are out there that have already spawned or waiting to come in, and there's still a lot of people fishing a crankbait. And of course, our hardest numbers this year are pretty standard. The DT6 in Rapalas, we've got all the hot colors: hot mustard, demon, red craw. We've also got the new OG flat-sided square bill crankbait for them that's sold really good. And all these things are going to make a transition to plastics here in the next little while. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But there's still a lot of people throwing a crankbait. And we've had a lot of success this year with crankbait rods and crankbait reels. We've got the new Corrado 200 PG crankbait reel in stock, 5-to-1. This is their first introductory to the crankbait reel, so we're pretty excited to have several of those. They're going really fast. We've got them in that. We've also got the winches in the Abu Garcia reel. We've also got the slow speed and the Luz. And all the manufacturers' brands we've got, we pretty well got a little bit of everything right now. And we'll be getting more stuff as the spring goes on, as some of these manufacturers release their products. We're going to talk about a bait that's worked really well too. Strike King's got a couple of new baits out. They were out last year, but didn't really catch on. This new 1.5 KVD flat side has worked out real well. We've got it in several colors left. The spring colors have been hit pretty hard. Also, there's a lot of people making a transition from a DT6 to a DT10. We've got all the colors in the Rapala DT10. But the bait that's been really hot for us, we've only had them about 3 weeks, and we've got very few of them left, is a Lucky Shad from Strike King. It actually is a walleye bait. It didn't start out having a great deal of success in the bass industry, except for now they offer it in all the bass colors, and we've got all the spring colors. It throws kind of like a shad wrap, a 7 shad wrap. A lot of people have struggled with throwing a shad wrap sometimes because it wants to glide on you when you cast it. So what we recommend, we've got several spinning rods, 7 foot to 7.6. This is a Dobbins Sierra Series 700F SF, and we've got one of the baits on there. This is the bully color, which is a very popular color right now, and the reason for that is the crawdads have made a transition from red and orange to yellow, and they'll turn to brown here before long. So this gives you a little brown back and a little bit of yellow side and a little bit of blue bottom, and there's all those colors are what a crawdad's starting to look like. This bait will run about 6 or 8 foot. It's a finesse crankbait. That's why sometimes it works pretty well on a spinning rod. I've got a 3000 series Shimano Sedona here, an 8-pound 100% fluorocarbon. It works really, really well. It allows you to cast the bait and reel it real slow and still have the finesse kind of feel and contact that you need to make a bait like that work. It does a real good job of coming through It does a real good job of coming through brush and everything. And like I said, we've still got plenty of the spring colors there, red craw and the bully, and we've got several other baits similar to that. Over this last week, especially during the Jetta Marina tournament, we saw that there was a transition from deeper water stuff to shallower water stuff. And the bait that's probably been the best seller for us this spring, from early spring till now, and will continue all the way through the summer, is a tube. A lot of people got away from a tube over the years. We didn't sell any until the last 2 years. And the thing about it is there's a lot of companies have made a lot of innovations in the heads and the way to rig them. Secret Lures has got a head. I'll show you the head here. I like a fairly light head unless I'm fishing current, but this is a 16th ounce head with a 3/0 hook in it, and you can make this weedless. You can make your tube weedless and cast it anywhere you want to, brush piles, cover, anything else. Works out really well. The weight stays inside the tube. There's several things you can do to a tube to make it more attractive. A lot of people paint the tails. The good thing about it is in the Secret Lures, in the Big Dummy, which is their great big tube, and also their regular size tube, all have painted tails. Probably the two of the best sellers has been this green pumpkin with big orange flake and an orange tail, and the one they call Big Money is a green pumpkin, and the inside of the tails are blue. Has worked out real well, and it's always a safe bet to keep a Spocket dip and glow pin or some Spocket around to color just the barely tip of your tubes, because as the tube falls, it catches air inside and the air bubbles come out, and it kind of acts like a glittering effect with the tails of the tube. That's why when you're selecting a tube, you want to make sure you get one that's plenty tough to hold your hook and the weight, but you want it lively enough for the tail to really work well. So I'd rather use the pencils as I had the dip on the tubes, because what happens as the dip dries, after you dip it, it sticks the tails together. And what you want is you want a lively tail on a tube, because without that, the air coming out of that tube, you don't have that kind of action. Like I say, we've got different size hooks, different size weighted hooks in 3 or 4 different brands. Again, we've got net bait tubes, zoom tubes, soon to have 6 colors of Crock Gator, all 4 sizes of the Strike King tubes, and we've got the Secret Lures Stupid tube, and we've also got the Big Dummy, and those tubes work really well. Tube bait is pretty unusual fishing, because you can fish it about any way you want to. You can swim it. I like to hop it. The rig I use a Dobbins 734. Gives me a little bit faster tip. I like the Eagle Claw High Pro hook, which is a hook that Shaw Grigsby came out with years ago. It's got a little clip to hold your tube in place. You can make it weedless. I use a bobber stop for my weight. I like to use a tungsten 16th, 1/8, usually not heavier than a 3/16 ounce tube weight there, and peg it right down next to the tube. That way it gives you the ability to hop it, and the weight stays where the tube is, so it all falls straight. And also it's great to fish in cover. So we've got all this stuff in stock. I recommend 14 to 17 pound fluorocarbon when you're fishing a tube. I like a real high speed reel. Sometimes they'll run off with it. You need to catch up with them. This is a Revo Rocket 10 to 1, and I've got 17 pound Berkeley 100% fluorocarbon on there, and that's a 3/0 hook. I personally like the 3.5 inch tube. We have the 4.5 flipping tubes, and the coffee tube from Strike King, and also the Big Dummy tube from secret lures. And we're all the time getting new stuff in, new colors. We can match you up with just about anything. The thing to remember when you're shopping at Kentucky Lake Outdoors is we have a lot of outlets to get stuff. If we don't have something that you want, we don't have enough of what you want, you just let us know and we'll order it for you. We do that on anything we have in the store, from firearms, ammunition, everything else, which is all tough to get right now. But be sure and keep us in mind. We want to be your outdoor store. Now, this tube bait is also a great sight fishing bait, and there's some fish bedding right now. I fished a tournament last Tuesday night and depended on 4 fish that were bedding, and they all did their part, but the old fisherman didn't do his part, so I didn't execute very well. I got bites from all 4 fish and only landed one of them. So it's lake's coming up. It's going to stabilize. It's supposed to barely drop in the next few days, no lower than the high 357s. So we should have an excellent spawn, as I said earlier. And as that happens, the next 2 baits you're going to be looking for is a swim jig and a spinnerbait. A lot of the fish this weekend were caught on a spinnerbait and a chatterbait. I personally like a spinnerbait a little bit better when you know where the fish are. If you're looking for fish, a chatterbait works out really well. Let's turn the old rack around here. A chatterbait works out really well. You can cover a lot more ground. You can fish it a little bit faster. This is a jackhammer. I've got a twin tail zoom trailer on there. I put a little red on the tail. Seems to work pretty well for me. I guess it's every fisherman's got a different idea about that. You need a pretty stiff rod. This is a Sierra Series 733 and a STX Abu Garcia, again with 17-pound green. But on a chatterbait, I like a little more give in my line, so I use big game monofilament instead of the fluorocarbon line. I just like a little more give when I'm fishing that chatterbait. But as far as the chatterbait's concerned, we've got the jackhammers in stock. Not a great selection. I don't think anybody does. We've got all different brands. We've got the Picasso brand. We've got the Thunder Cricket from Strike King. We've got a good selection of those, especially in the heavier sizes, 5/8 and 3/4 in both those brands. We've got them all in stock. We've got all the trailers. The Big Bite trailer has been really good for us this year. We've got several colors in them. That orange and red flamethrower was pretty good early, but we're transitioning, as I said, the crawdads are changing colors. They're going from reds and oranges to yellows and browns, and they'll be brown pretty quick. As this water gets up in the high 60s, low 70s, the crawdads will get brown again. So we've got all that stuff in stock for you. We've got all the dip it dyes, the spike it dip and dyes. We've got it in garlic. We've got it in salt. We've got a little bit of everything. We've got non-scented in it. We've got a little bit of everything there. A new spinnerbait that's probably been our best seller. Accent's probably overall one of our best sellers. But this turtleback bait here in a 1/2 ounce with a turtleback blade. A lot of people don't fish a turtleback blade. A lot of companies don't make a turtleback spinnerbait. A turtleback blade has a lot more thump than a willow blade, but it still has enough flash that you can get a bite by a reaction as well as a sound. Also, this the new bait, we've got the new tungsten bait from Picasso here, the Hog Snatcher. We've got it in 3 sizes and about 10 colors. We've got just a little bit of everything that they make with accent in stock, from 3/8 to 1 1/4. Another bait that it really took off last year for us, and we're just now getting to spinnerbait time, is Luke Clawson's Z-Man spinnerbait and sling blade. It's got a J hook on it. It's got a O'Shaughnessy bend hook on it instead of a round bend hook, and it's very good for fishing cover. Seems like when you catch a fish in cover, they can get off that big round blade, big round hook bend. This blade here doesn't do that much. It's worked out really well for us. We've got about 10 colors in it, and this is the brand new Strike King tour grade spinnerbait. We've got it 1/2 and 3/8. I'd like to tell you can get this color right here, but we're getting low on them. We got more of them coming. This is a chartreuse shad. It's got a gold willow and a 2.5 nickel willow. It's got a J-bend hook in it, just like the Luke Clawson bait does. It's got 33 thousandths wire, light wire. It's easy to tune. You know, a lot of people buy a spinnerbait with thin wire, and after they catch a couple of fish on it, especially, I know every one of you have caught a white perch on a spinnerbait, and you know what a white perch makes a spinnerbait look like. It comes back wadded up like a piece of tinfoil. But what I'm going to show you here is how to toot a spinnerbait. This spinnerbait is untuned. I don't know if you can see it there or not, but what you want to do when you tune a spinnerbait, you want the tip of the hook, the line tie, and the end of the arm where the blade's at, all to line up. So what you need to do is look down the bait and bend the wire until all three of those line up. Then your spinnerbait is tuned. Nearly every fish you catch will detune your spinnerbait. And what happens is, if it's detuned, it will roll over. So if you want to make sure that you've got your spinnerbait right, just take and put your finger on it, push your line tie down and line up your eye where you tie your line, where your blade's at, and the bend of your hook. As long as those three are in line, your spinnerbait will track straight. And if it doesn't track straight, it won't fall straight. That's what when you reel a spinnerbait, a lot of you know when you kill your spinnerbait is a big time you'll get to bite, then you want that to be straight. Again, I choose to color my tails. I like this chartreuse shad here. I'll put a little chartreuse on the end of it here. And I like the pin a lot better than I do the dipping because it doesn't make them stick together. And what happens there, you can go on and put your chartreuse color. You don't want to color a whole lot of it. You just want it to match the side of the bait there. The chartreuse makes it look real, works out really, really well. And the pencil dies a little bit quicker in the dip, and it doesn't stick your tails together. It gives you a lot more light. I like to fish a spinnerbait on 17 to 20 pound test, and I use big game a big part of the time. Yeah, a lot of people go to fluorocarbon with it, but I like a little bit of give on a spinnerbait to make sure the fish has got the bait before I get on him. And we've got about every spinnerbait imaginable, every trailer. Of course, as the fish get on the bed, my favorite way to catch them is to take a tube and flip in the bed, or I like to split shot a zoom fry or a small fluke. The really small fluke works really well. Just something you can put in a nest to aggravate the fish. But my favorite way to catch them, well, it's not my favorite way, I don't guess. My favorite way is whatever a fish will hit. But I like fishing a swim jig. And I want a versatile swim jig. I want a swim jig with a good hook. This is a zapper. This is a Zapper HD. It's got the big hook in it. This is great for flipping, pitching, skipping, swimming. This particular bait is watermelon candy. I personally like to put the Rage Tail Baby Menace on there. It works out really, really well. And again, especially when I'm swimming a swim jig, I like to color my tail. I like the Baby Rage Menace because it's compact. You be sure and pull your tails apart. Again, take your spiket pin and just kind of put a little chartreuse on the tail of the bait. Catch a fish's eye. And that Rage Tail does a lot of swimming. It churns up a lot of water, does a lot of things. And I think you'll like the HD. I also throw the regular 3/8 zapper. I like the 3/8 to swim. I know John Cox won that tournament on a 1/2 ounce swim jig. I have better luck with the 3/8 because I don't have a problem throwing this same jig in cover. When I get to a stake bed or a brush pile that I can see which probably won't be the case at 358 water, I can take this jig and I can fish it in a brush pile just like I do a worm, or I can swim it. This is, in my opinion, my favorite by far is the Crock Gator Zapper, and we've got them in about every color imaginable. But there's really only 2 times I like to fish a jig, and that's when I'm by myself or with somebody. So, you know, a jig will catch them anytime. It's a big fish bait. It always has been. Again, I like 15 to 17 pound test when I'm fishing cover. I like to go 17 to 20 when I'm swimming it in shallow water, which is what we'll be doing over the next week or so. Again, I've got a 735 Dobbins rod is my favorite rod. You can pitch, flip with it. We've got Shimano's in the same action. We've got all different brands of rod. We've got 10 or 15 different brands of rods in stock. We can fix you up with any length or action rod you want. We can match it to any reel you want. We've got Shimano, Abu Garcia, Lew's, Fluger. We've got a lot of opportunities here. We've got Daiwa. We keep the Tatula Elite and the SV TVs in stock. We've got all those reels in stock, and we'll be glad to hook you up. We'll be glad to take the time to show you how to rig your equipment. If you come in the store, we've got a knowledgeable staff. Of course, don't forget our firearms and we've got firearms and ammunition. Don't forget our full line bow department. We've got 2 of the best bow techs in Western Kentucky working for us, so we can get you going there too. You know, I think the thing to remember and important is I don't think we're going to see as many big tournaments this year as we probably will. Terry Bolton said it best on stage, and Terry's, you know, makes a living doing this, travels all around the country fishing. He said 22 is going to be even greater year than 21. But I think we saw with the kind of weights, you know, when you go paying a 35th place in a 155 boat tournament, and it takes 14 pounds to do that, I think everybody will admit that that's much better than we've had over the last couple of years. And I think the thing that stuck out most in my mind about the weigh-in this weekend was the fact there were so many limits, 5 bass limits. Of course, many of the organizations went to 3 bass last year, going to 5 this year, of 15 to 17-inch fish. There were all kinds of limits from 10 to 12 to 13 pounds. And, you know, you get a 13-pound limit now, you've got to have a fish 3 or 4 pounds, and that's the year classes that we've been missing. So I think you're going to see a very productive bass year. Of course, we have full line crappie stuff. We've got more crappie stuff right now than we've ever had. We'll be doing some podcasts about our crappie equipment, our new stuff. We've got a full line of hand-tied bluegill jigs. We've got a full line of hand-tied hair jigs for crappie. We've got a little bit of everything. So we want to be your outdoor store. We want you to come in and see us. And anytime you have any questions, just go to our Facebook and we'll look at the Facebook. And if you got any questions, we'll be glad to contact you and answer your questions. We sure appreciate you watching today. We hope we've been informative, and we hope you've enjoyed it. And you'll be seeing more from us. We've got some new additions here at the store, and we've got the ability to do podcast and edit them and everything. So we're really excited about that. So you'll be seeing more from us, and we certainly appreciate you watching us. And most of all, God bless you and good fishing.